Let's get started with today's story. I still remember the night my world began to fall apart as clearly as if it were yesterday. Sarah, my wife of 7 years, had told me she'd be home late from work again. She'd been saying that a lot lately, spending more nights at the office, always with some excuse, a big deadline, an urgent meeting, a team project that couldn't wait. It all sounded routine until I caught the unmistakable scent of cologne on her blouse one night, a scent I knew wasn't mine. The image of that night is etched in my mind, her standing at the door, brushing off questions with a tired smile that felt wrong. I knew her well enough to sense the change, but I couldn't put my finger on it. I forced myself to let it go. I told myself I was imagining things, but I couldn't sleep that night, and as the days went on, my suspicion gnawed at me until I couldn't ignore it anymore. One evening, she was out again, supposedly for a business dinner. I had put the kids to bed and was trying to lose myself in a movie, but the tension was impossible to ignore. My phone buzzed with a message from my friend Rob. "Mark, you okay, man? You've been quiet lately." I took a deep breath and decided to be honest. "I don't know. I feel like something's off with Sarah. She's always working late, meeting up with friends, and when she's home, she's not really here." "Have you talked to her about it?" "Tried, but she just brushes it off, says I'm imagining things." Rob's reply was cautious but direct. "Look, man, I'm not saying anything's going on, but if you feel something's up, you owe it to yourself to find out." I stared at that message for a long time, his words drilling through my brain like a warning. I decided right then that I'd finally get to the truth. The next day, Sarah left her phone on the kitchen counter when she went to shower. My heart pounded as I picked it up, my fingers cold and clammy. I knew this was an invasion of her privacy, but I couldn't live with the questions gnawing at me anymore. One notification caught my eye, a message from someone named MEM. I opened it, feeling a strange mix of fear and anger. "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again." I felt like someone had just knocked the air out of my lungs. My hands shook as I set the phone down, and I tried to gather myself before she returned. What was I supposed to say? How could I confront her without breaking down? When she came back into the kitchen, I forced myself to act normal. She kissed me on the cheek, too distracted to notice the strain in my smile, and left for work. As soon as she was gone, I sat there, staring at the wall, trying to process the betrayal unraveling before me. This wasn't just a passing fling. She was falling for someone else, and I hadn't even seen it coming. That evening, I decided I couldn't wait any longer. Sarah had told me she'd be working late at the office, but I was done taking her word for it. Knowing she had a few other errands to run before heading there, I left the kids at my mom's house for the weekend, told them I'd be back soon, and decided to follow her. My mind was set on uncovering the truth. I parked outside her office building and waited. I watched as Sarah arrived, her heels clicking against the pavement. She looked beautiful, but there was a tension in her posture that I hadn't seen before. Hours passed, and I began to feel a sense of foreboding. Just when I thought I couldn't take it anymore, I saw Mike, her coworker, enter the building. My heart sank. I felt like I was walking into a trap, but I needed to know the truth. I waited until the office light began to dim, then quietly made my way to the entrance, slipping inside unnoticed. I crept down the hallway, my heart racing as I approached the conference room. Peeking through the glass door, I saw Sarah and Mike together, leaning close over a table covered with papers. My stomach turned as I watched them laugh, the chemistry between them palpable. Then it happened. I couldn't believe my eyes. In one swift motion, they leaned in closer, and before I could process it, they were kissing passionately and starting to take their clothes off. My breath caught in my throat, and the room spun. It felt like I was watching my whole life unravel before me. "Sarah!" I yelled, bursting into the room, my voice echoing off the walls. "What the hell is going on?" She turned, her face going pale. "Ma Kai, what is this?" I shouted, my heart shattering into a million pieces. "How could you do this to me? To our family? It's not what you think. We were just—" she started, but I cut her off. "Just what?" "Just cheating." I felt rage flooding through me. "You've been lying to me for months, sneaking around like a thief in the night." Mike took a step back, hands raised in defense. "Mark, this is not the place for this," he said, his tone defensive. "Shut up. This is between me and my wife." I snapped. Sarah's eyes were filled with tears. "Mark, please, let's talk about this." "Talk? You think this can be fixed with a conversation?" I yelled, feeling my world collapse around me. "You've betrayed me, Sarah. You've betrayed our family. I didn't mean for it to happen, I swear. I was lonely and Mike was there to listen," she said, her voice breaking. "Lonely? With 2 kids at home? You think that's an excuse?" I replied, feeling a mix of anger and despair. "What about Emma and Jake? They love you, and this is how you repay them." "I know, and I'm sorry. I'll do anything to fix this," she pleaded, her face crumpling as she spoke. But her words fell on deaf ears. I couldn't take it anymore. I turned and stormed out, feeling like I was losing a part of myself with each step. I got into my car and drove home, the world around me blurring through my tears. I was speeding, nearly losing control as I swerved to avoid the guardrail. My mind was a whirlwind of thoughts. How could she betray me like this? How could she choose him over our family? When I arrived home, I found solace in the silence. Thank God the kids were at my mom's house for the weekend. I felt a deep ache in my heart as I walked through our empty living room, memories of laughter echoing around me like ghosts. I made my way to the bedroom and started packing a suitcase. Each piece of clothing I shoved inside felt like another layer of my shattered heart. I grabbed a few shirts and a pair of jeans, not knowing how long I would need to be away. As I packed, I caught a glimpse of our marriage certificate framed on the wall. My chest tightened. In one swift motion, I tore it off the wall and ripped it in half, feeling a sense of finality wash over me. My whole life felt like a lie, and I could no longer pretend it wasn't. I finished packing and decided I needed to escape, at least for a few days. I found a motel in the next city and called to book a room. As I hung up, I felt a sense of dread wash over me. My life had spiraled out of control, and now I was on my own. When Sarah returned home, she called out for me, but nobody answered. All she found were my empty hangers and the torn remnants of our marriage certificate lying on the floor. Panic set in as she began to search the house, her calls growing frantic. "Mark, where are you?" she shouted, her voice trembling. She pulled out her phone and dialed my number, but it went straight to voicemail. "Mark, I'm so sorry. Please answer. I love you, and I can fix this. Just give me a chance. Please come back," she begged, her voice cracking with emotion. But I was determined. A few hours later, I called my friend Rob and told him that my suspicions were true. Sarah was cheating on me. Anguish coursed through me as I asked if he could join me for a drink. We met at a bar near my motel, and the weight of my heartbreak poured out in our conversation. I shared my plans to get a divorce, and Rob listened intently. He then told me that he knows a very good lawyer who can help me with that. We had a couple more drinks, discussing the whole situation in depth, before I finally returned to the motel. The next morning, I spent some time walking in the park, my hand shaking as the gravity of my situation sank in. Each step felt heavy with the realization of how serious this was. Days turned into a blur as I settled into the motel. I spent hours thinking about my marriage, my children, and my future. I realized I couldn't keep going like this. The love I once had for Sarah had turned to ashes, and I couldn't rebuild from that. When I finally worked up the courage to call Sarah, I could hear the desperation in her voice. "Mark, please just talk to me. I'll do anything to make this right. I love you." "Love isn't enough, Sarah. You shattered my trust." "I can't just forget that," I replied, my heart heavy with grief. "I'll go to counseling. I'll change. Just please don't do this," she pleaded, but I could hear the tears in her voice. "I have to think about our kids. I don't want them to be caught in the middle of this," I said, my voice firm but filled with pain. "Mark, please don't leave me," she whispered, and I could hear her heartbreak in the silence. But I knew what I had to do. I had to be strong for our kids, to give them a chance at a stable life without the constant tension that had begun to strangle our home. After I hung up the phone with Sarah, I took a deep breath and dialed my mom's number. She answered almost immediately, her warm, familiar voice offering a hint of comfort amid the chaos. "Mark, honey, is everything all right?" she asked, her voice filled with concern. I hadn't told her what was happening yet, and I could hear the worry in her tone. "Mom," I paused, trying to keep my voice steady, "I need to talk to you about something. It's about Sarah and me." The words came out strained, but once I started, I couldn't stop. I poured it all out, the late nights, the lies, and finally how I had caught Sarah in her office with someone else. There was silence on the other end, and then a soft sigh. "Oh, Mark," she murmured, her voice thick with sympathy. "I had no idea you were going through all of this. I'm so sorry. What are you going to do?" "I don't know yet," I admitted. "I'm trying to figure it out, but it's a lot. I can't even bring myself to go back to the house right now. I just can't be there. I thought maybe I'd stay at the motel a few more days, try to clear my head." She was quiet for a moment, processing everything I'd told her. "What about Emma and Jake?" she asked gently. "That's why I'm calling," I said, rubbing my temples. "I think it might be best if they stay with you for a little while, just until things calm down. I don't want them to be around all this tension, and I need time to figure out what to tell them. They're already going to be confused. I don't want them to feel caught in the middle of it all." Mom sighed softly, but there was a certain firmness in her voice. "Of course, honey. They're more than welcome to stay as long as you need. I'll keep them busy, take them to the park, and try to make things as normal as possible for them. You just focus on what you need to do." "Thank you, Mom," I whispered, relief flooding through me. "I don't know what I'd do without you right now." "You don't have to do this alone, Mark," she replied, her voice gentle but unwavering. "Take all the time you need to sort things out. And remember, whatever happens, you've got a family who loves you and will help you through this." I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. Her words, her support, it meant everything. Knowing that Emma and Jake were safe, surrounded by love and stability, gave me the tiniest bit of peace. The road ahead felt impossibly long, but at least I didn't have to travel it completely alone. A few days later, I went back to the house. Sarah was there, waiting for me. She looked like she hadn't slept, her eyes swollen from crying, but I didn't care. I had come to get the rest of my stuff, to start over without her. "Mark, please," she whispered as I packed. "We can make this right. I'll do anything." I shook my head, my voice cold and empty. "Sarah, do you really think I could ever trust you again after everything you've done?" She sobbed, reaching out for me. "I was lost, Mark. I got caught up in something I didn't mean to. But I know now what a mistake I made. Please, we have to try, for Emma and Jake." I closed my suitcase, feeling nothing but a hollow ache. "I am doing this for Emma and Jake," I said. "They deserve parents who respect each other, who love each other. I can't give them that anymore." That day, I called my lawyer and filed for a divorce. The hardest part was telling the kids. They were too young to understand, to know why Daddy wasn't coming home. But I promised myself I'd be there for them, that I'd fight for every chance to be the father they needed, even if it meant starting over. I was determined to shield them from the chaos of our broken marriage. In the months that followed, I rebuilt my life piece by piece, finding strength in places I hadn't known existed. The nights were lonely, and the scars of betrayal didn't fade quickly, but slowly I found a new normal, one that didn't rely on lies or broken promises. Looking back now, I know that I lost something precious in those moments. But I also learned what I truly needed in life: honesty, loyalty, and a love that could stand the test of time. Thank you for watching.